Long ago, before the white man's road crossed the red earth of the Niger Valley, there was a village called Obodo Eze, the king's land. It was a land blessed by rivers that glistened like molten silver, by forests that whispered secrets to the wind, and by people who worked hard, sang loudly, and loved deeply. But blessings, as the elders say, are like palm wine, sweet at first, but bitter if you forget who poured it for you. Obodo Eze had forgotten. For generations, the people of the village had offered sacrifices to Allah, goddess of the earth, and Anyamu, the spirit of the sun. They gave thanks for every harvest and every child born beneath the great Iroko tree. But one year, pride crept in. The new king, Eze of declared that the gods had grown old and silent. He said, "It is our hands that plant, our sweat that brings the yam," he said, "let us feast for ourselves." And so, the sacred offerings ceased. That year, the rains fell too early and too long. The rivers overflowed, drowning the crops. Goats gave birth to stillborn kids, and the air grew heavy with the smell of rot and sorrow. The villagers called it Uchechi's curse, for it was said that the priestess Uchechi had died warning them, "When you forget the gods, they will remember you in anger." Years passed. The curse became part of their lives, a shadow that walked with them. Children were born weak, the soil refused to yield, and laughter was rare. In the heart of that dying village lived Amara, a young woman with hands that could weave dreams into cloth. Her loom was her companion, her songs her comfort. She had no mother, for she died at Amara's birth, and her father, Okafor, was a fisherman whose boat was more faithful than fortune. Though poor, Amara carried herself with grace. Her skin was the color of warm earth after rain, and her eyes shimmered like dark water under moonlight. But what made her truly different was her heart, gentle yet unbending like the stem of a young palm. Each morning, Amara would walk to the river to wash her cloth and fetch water. She always greeted the river spirits softly, dropping cowries into the stream. The elder said she was born under a listening moon, a sign that spirits could hear her heart. And perhaps they did. One evening, when the moon hung like a silver drum above the trees, Amara went to the river later than usual. The air was thick with the scent of night flowers and damp soil. Crickets chirped like distant drummers. She knelt by the river, humming to herself, a song her mother used to sing, though she had never heard it from her lips. Suddenly, she felt the water ripple, though no wind blew. She looked up. A shadow stood across the water, tall, radiant, and still. Her breath caught. The figure's skin glowed faintly, as if lit from within. Its eyes were pools of light, deep and sorrowful. He wore no crown, but there was a grace about him that no earthly prince could match. "Who are you?" she whispered. The man smiled, a smile both kind and lonely. "I am a traveler," he said, his voice as soft as wind through leaves. "A wanderer who has lost his home among the stars." Amara clutched her water pot tightly. "There are no homes among the stars," she said. "Ah," he replied, "that is what mortals believe." He stepped forward, and the river parted beneath his feet, his reflection shimmering like broken glass. Amara gasped and stumbled back, but he raised a hand. Fear not, child of the earth. I mean no harm. I am called Chizaram, once a prince of the heavens, now exiled. Amara's fear gave way to wonder. A prince of the heavens? You speak in riddles. Then let me speak in truth, he said, kneeling by the water's edge. I am the son of the moon and the sky. I defied my mother's will, and for that I was cast down to wander among mortals until I learned humility. Amara blinked. You are a spirit. He nodded. Spirit, yes, but one who feels hunger, pain, and loneliness just as you do. The moon above shimmered brighter, as if listening. Why come to me? She asked. He smiled faintly. Because I heard your song. The river carried it to the sky. It was a song of sorrow and of hope. Few mortals sing to the gods anymore. Amara looked down, ashamed. We no longer know how. Then let me remind you, he said, and touched the water. Where his hand met the river, light spread, a ripple of moon fire that made the fishes dance. Amara gasped. The air smelled like rain and palm wine. When the light faded, a small stone lay in his palm, glowing pale silver, smooth as water. Take this, he said. It is a moonstone, born from my mother's tears. It will keep you safe from darkness, but you must never show it to anyone, or its light will fade. Amara hesitated, then took it. The stone pulsed warmly against her skin like a heartbeat. Why give it to me? She asked softly. Because even spirits need faith. And tonight I have found mine. From that night on, Amara returned to the river each evening, and each evening Chizaram was there. They spoke of many things, of the stars that danced across the heavens, of the river spirits that guarded the earth, of the pain of exile and the beauty of forgiveness. As moons waxed and waned, their bond deepened. He would tell her stories of the celestial court, of the goddess Onwa who bathed in silver streams, of the sun who burned with jealousy, and of mortals whose songs once reached the heavens. Amara in turn told him of the village, of hunger and pride, of laughter lost, of the curse that would not end. Your people have forgotten the old ways, Chizaram said, but the gods do not forget so easily. Perhaps your heart can remind them. She smiled. How can a weaver's daughter change the will of gods? He looked at her with eyes full of stars. Because love moves what pride cannot.
But love, like the river, never flows without obstacles. In Obodo Eze lived another young woman, Adana, daughter of the priest. She was beautiful in the way fire is beautiful, bright, dangerous, consuming. She had long admired Amara's quiet strength, but envy turned admiration into hatred. One morning at the market, Adana noticed Amara's new radiance, her eyes brighter, her steps lighter, her laughter like music after drought. The villagers whispered. She has found a lover, said one woman. But who? Asked another. Her father is poor. No man has come for her hand. Adana watched her with suspicion. No mortal brings that kind of joy, she muttered. Something hides in her shadow. That evening, when Amara went to the river, Adana followed, barefoot, silent as a snake. She hid behind a tree as she watched Amara kneel by the bank, humming. Then, from the water, he came, the man of light. Adana's heart pounded. She saw him lift his hand, saw the water shimmer, saw Amara smile. A spirit, a forbidden love. She ran back to the village, her mind aflame with thoughts of betrayal and power. If she told her father, the priest, he would praise her. If she told the king, he might reward her. But another voice whispered within her, darker, hungrier. What if I could have him instead? That night, Adana dreamt of the moon, red and bleeding, and of a voice that said, "When jealousy burns, even the heavens tremble." She woke sweating, but her resolve only hardened. Meanwhile, Amara continued her secret meetings. The moonstone glowed brighter each time she touched it. She felt alive, fearless, complete. Yet deep within her heart, a question lingered. Could love between earth and sky ever last? One night she asked him, "Shizaram, what happens when your exile ends? Will you return to the heavens?" He looked away. "If the gods forgive me, I will rise with the dawn and never look back." Her voice trembled. "And if they do not?" He smiled sadly. "Then I will remain, as wind or mist or memory, but I will always find you." Amara reached out and touched his hand. "Then let the gods wait. Tonight you are mine." He kissed her then, a kiss that tasted of moonlight and tears. The river glowed, the trees swayed, and the stars seemed to lean closer to watch. But far above them, unseen, the goddess Onwa, the moon herself, stirred in anger.
The moon had always been a friend to the people of Obodo Eze. It guided hunters through the forest, watched over lovers in the night, and bathed the river in silver light. But that season, its face began to change. It glowed not white, but crimson, as though smeared with sorrow. The elders whispered that Onwa, goddess of the moon, was restless. The priests' drums sounded every dawn, calling for calm. No one knew why the goddess stirred. No one, except Amara. Each night, she still met Chizaram by the river, but lately the glow that had once filled his form had dimmed, flickering like a fading flame. "Something troubles you," Amara said one evening, as they sat beside the shimmering water. Chizaram looked at the moon, his jaw tight. "My mother has seen us," he murmured. "The goddess watches through the eyes of her children. She knows I have given my heart to a mortal." Fear swept through Amara. "Will she punish you?" He smiled sadly. "Her punishment is already upon me. Each time we meet, I lose a part of my light. But I would rather fade beside you than shine alone in the heavens." Tears filled Amara's eyes. "You cannot say such things. The gods do not forgive love that defies them." He cupped her face in his glowing hands. "Then let them learn forgiveness from us." Their lips met again, a kiss that turned the air to trembling gold. The river sang softly. But in the forest's shadow, a pair of mortal eyes watched them, wide, jealous, burning. Adana. She had returned, her envy a fire that refused to die. That night she had brought her father's divination charm, a small calabash filled with sacred sand and bloodroot. She whispered a spell her father had taught her to reveal hidden spirits. As she watched, the sand in the calabash began to swirl on its own, glowing faintly, a sign of spirit presence. "So it's true," she whispered. "The weaver girl has ensnared a god." She ran back toward the village, the sand still swirling in her hand, her thoughts a storm of hatred and opportunity.
By dawn, the whole of Obodo Eze buzzed with rumor. Adana saw her with a spirit, they whispered at the market. She's bewitched him, cried another. Maybe she's the reason for our curse, muttered an elder. Perhaps the gods are angry because of her sin. When the priest, Nuze Idu, heard the story, he summoned his daughter. Tell me everything you saw, he demanded. Adana bowed low. Father, I saw Amara at the river with a man whose skin shone like moonlight. He walked on water, and the river bowed before him. The priest frowned deeply. That is no mortal. This is a grave offense. Spirits must not mingle with flesh. Adana lowered her eyes, hiding her smile. I fear she will bring ruin upon us all. Nzeidu nodded. Then the gods must be shown that we do not stand with her. Tomorrow we shall call a gathering. If this spirit truly walks among us, the sacred fire will reveal him. That night, Amara's father, Okafor, noticed her silence at supper. My daughter, he said gently, you have been glowing like a sunrise these past moons, but tonight you are dimmer than a dying lamp. What weighs your heart? She hesitated. Papa, if you loved someone the gods forbid, would you still love them? Okafor looked up slowly. When I was young, I loved my mother more than life. She was promised to another man. The elders said we could not wed, but I defied them. We ran away together. The gods took her early, but they gave me you. So, yes, I would still love her. Amara blinked back tears. Then perhaps love is the truest kind of faith. Okafor smiled, although he did not understand the full weight of her words. Then hold it carefully, my child. Even love can burn if you grip it too tightly. The next evening, as the moon rose, Amara hurried to the river, clutching the moonstone under her wrapper. Chizaram was waiting, his glow faint but steady. I can feel the goddess's eyes upon us. She is angry, and her wrath may fall on your people. Then I will beg her forgiveness, said Amara. I will go to her shrine. He shook his head. Mortals cannot stand before her light. It would burn your soul. Then what do we do? He sighed. The moonstone protects you. Keep it close. No matter what happens, do not let it go. Before they could speak further, the sound of drums echoed through the forest, deep, commanding, thunderous. Nzgeni's drums, whispered Amara. They summon the spirits for truth. Chizaram tensed. They seek to expose me. Indeed, the priest, Nuze Idu, and a group of villagers were approaching the river, carrying torches and the fire bowl of revelation, a sacred flame that revealed lies and spirits alike. Adana walked beside her father, pride glittering in her eyes. Amara stood frozen as the villagers surrounded her. What are you doing here alone, Amara? The priest demanded. I came to fetch water, she stammered. Adana stepped forward. Father, that is where he stood, she cried, pointing to the water. Call upon the sacred fire. Let us show us the truth. The priest raised the bowl and chanted. The flame turned blue, then green, and then a fierce white. It flared toward the river, crackling with divine energy. Jizaram appeared, not fully, but as a shimmering shape of light, his form wavering between man and spirit. Gasps filled the air. Some villagers fell to their knees. Others fled screaming. The priest shouted, Spirit of the heavens, why do you trespass among mortals? Jizaram's voice was calm but sorrowful. I came for love, not conquest. Your world has forgotten the songs of the old days. Amara remembered them. You defile her, thundered the priest. No spirit may touch mortal flesh. Amara stepped forward, tears in her eyes. He has harmed no one. He saved me from the river serpent. He loves me. The crowd murmured in shock. Love, scoffed Adana. A spirit cannot love a mortal. He only uses you. Jizaram turned towards her, and his eyes glowed with sorrowful light. You speak of what you cannot feel. Your heart burns with envy, not truth. Adana flinched as if struck, but the priest raised the bowl high. Spirit, be gone. Return to your realm before we bind you in fire. The white flame leapt higher. Jizaram staggered, his light dimming under its glare. Amara screamed, rushing to his side, but the villagers pulled her back. No, she cried, you're hurting him. The priest shouted another incantation, and the air cracked like thunder. Jizaram collapsed to his knees, his form flickering. Amara, he called weakly, the stone, keep it close. As he spoke, the moonstone around her neck burst into light, brighter than the torches, brighter than the sacred flame. The energy of it threw the villagers backward. The flame in the priest's bowl died with a hiss. When they looked up, Jizaram was gone. Only the echo of his voice remained. When love is caged, even the heavens will weep. The villagers fled in terror, leaving Amara alone by the river. She fell to her knees, sobbing. The moon's reflection in the water trembled, as if the goddess herself was crying. From that night, the river changed. It no longer sang. Its waters turned dark, reflecting only pain. In the days that followed, strange things began to happen. Crops that had begun to sprout withered again. Livestock refused to drink from the river. At night, silver mist drifted through the village, whispering Amara's name. The elders blamed her. They have brought the gods' wrath upon us, they said. The king, as a Ophor, summoned her to his courtyard. Girl, he said sternly, the people cry for peace. You consorted with a spirit, and now the gods punish us anew. You must undo what you have done. Amara bowed her head. I did not bring the curse, my king. I only followed my heart. The king frowned. Then your heart must pay the price. At the next moon, we shall perform a cleansing ritual. You will offer a sacrifice, something precious, to appease the goddess Onla. Amara nodded silently, knowing in her soul what that would mean. That night, she returned to the river one last time. Chizaram, she whispered into the wind, where are you? The water rippled, faintly glowing, and his voice drifted like a sigh. I am trapped between worlds. The gods have sealed the path. I cannot return to you unless the moonstone opens it again. Amara clutched the stone. Tell me how, he said. It would cost your life, and your soul would dwell neither in heaven nor earth, but in the light that watches over both. She trembled. If love demands that price, I will pay it. His voice grew faint. Then when the moon turns full, call my name beneath its light. I will come. And the river stilled once more. Far away, in the celestial court, the goddess Onwa rose from her silver throne. Her eyes blazed like the sun's reflection on water. My son has defied me again, she said to the spirits gathered around her. He would bind the eternal to the fleeting. If the mortal dares to call him once more, I will descend myself and end this foolish love. The sky trembled, the stars dimmed, and so began the final turning of fate, where love, Pride and divine wrath would collide beneath the crimson moon.
3 nights passed in silence over Obodo Eze. The moon hid behind clouds as if ashamed to look upon the earth. The wind carried no song, the crickets refused to play their drums. The curse that had slumbered returned, stronger than before. Yam tendrils blackened overnight. The wells turned sour. Even newborns wailed endlessly as if seeing ghosts. Fear, that ancient visitor, walked freely among the huts. In the midst of it all, Amara sat beside her loom, her hands still, but her heart wild. The moonstone lay hidden against her chest, glowing faintly even when wrapped in cloth. She had not seen Chizaram since that night by the river. But his absence did not dim her love, only deepened it. She could feel him like the echo of a heartbeat, just beyond reach. Then, one morning, Adana appeared at her door. "Amara," she said sweetly, "the king has asked for you. The priest has chosen the day of the cleansing ritual." Amara looked up from her weaving, eyes wary. "You sound pleased." She smiled thinly. "I am. The goddess will finally forgive our village. Or destroy it." Amara's smile flickered. "Do not tempt the gods. You have done enough." Amara rose slowly. "Tell me, Adana, why do you hate me so?" For a moment, Adana's face softened. "Because you found love in a place I prayed for all my life. You sang and the heavens answered. I sang and only silence came." She turned abruptly and walked away, leaving Amara in tears. That night, Amara sat outside beneath the pale glow of the half-moon. The villagers whispered and pointed as they passed. Some pitied her, others cursed her. Her father came to sit beside her. "My child," said Okafor, his eyes tired and kind. "The gods demand a sacrifice at the next full moon. The priest says you must offer something of great worth, something your heart cannot live without." Amara touched the moonstone beneath her wrapper. "I already know what I must give, Papa," she said softly. Okafor frowned. "What is it?" She looked at the horizon where the moon would soon rise. "My heart." The day of the ritual arrived like a wounded dawn. The sun rose red and heavy, as though bleeding. The villagers gathered in the square, dressed in mourning colors. The priest stood before the great altar of Allah, the earth goddess, and beside him, a bowl of sacred fire waited. Amara walked into the square barefoot, her hair loose, her wrapper plain white. Around her neck, the moonstone shimmered faintly, unnoticed beneath the fabric. Adana stood near the altar, eyes glinting with cold satisfaction. The king, Eze Ofor, raised his staff. "Amara, daughter of Okafor, you have been chosen to offer a sacrifice that may lift this curse. Do you accept this burden before your people?" "I accept it," Amara said clearly, her voice steady, though her heart trembled. "Then come forward," said the priest, "and lay your offering upon the altar." Amara stepped up. She reached beneath her wrapper and brought out the moonstone. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The stone glowed like a captive moon, pulsing with light. The priest recoiled. "What is this?" Amara's voice rose like a song. "This is the heart of my love, the gift of a spirit who walked among us. With this I beg forgiveness, not only for my love, but for our pride, our forgetfulness, and our curse." The priest's eyes widened in horror. You dare bring a spirit's relic into sacred ground? The ground trembled. The flame in the bowl leapt skyward, turning blue. The air thickened. The villagers cried out as wind swirled around Amara. Above them, the moon blazed white and full, emerging from behind clouds. A voice thundered from the heavens, the voice of the goddess Onwa herself. Mortal girl, you hold what belongs to heavens. You dare bind a child of the sky to flesh? Amara fell to her knees. Forgive me, great mother. My love was not born of defiance, but of truth. He did not come to mock you. He came to remember you. The wind howled. The villagers fled in terror. And then, the moon split open with light. Descending from it, surrounded by a halo of silver fire, came Onwa, the moon goddess, radiant, terrible, and beautiful beyond words. Her feet did not touch the ground. Her eyes shone like 1,000 stars. The people fell to their faces, weeping. "Where is my son?" she demanded, her voice shaking the trees. From the river beyond the village came a rising glow. The water boiled and parted, and Chizadam appeared, pale, wounded, his light flickering like a dying flame. He bowed before his mother. "I am here, Great One." "Foolish child," she said, her voice trembling with fury and sorrow. "You have broken the divine order. You have given love to what will wither and chained eternity to dust." Chizadam lifted his eyes. "Then punish me, not her. She loved with purity. She did not know the laws of heaven." Amara cried, "No, if punishment must come, let it fall on me." The goddess looked between them, her expression unreadable. "You both speak of love, but love has brought only suffering. What good is a feeling that defies balance?" Amara rose to her feet, tears streaming down her face. "Because love is balance. Without it, even the gods grow lonely. Did not your own heart ache when he fell? Did not your moon weep?" A silence fell, deep, ancient, echoing through heaven and earth. Onwa's fury softened for a heartbeat. She looked upon her son and the mortal girl, and a flicker of sorrow crossed her eyes. But pride, that divine poison, would not die so easily. "So be it," she said finally. "If you love each other beyond reason, then you shall be bound by it forever." She raised her hands. Silver fire coiled around them like serpents. "Let the mortal's life join the moon's light, and let the sky prince fade with her breath. Thus shall their love become eternal and unreachable." The villagers screamed. Chizadam rushed forward, wrapping his arms around Amara. "Close your eyes," he whispered. She smiled through her tears. "I see only you." The goddess unleashed her power. A beam of white fire struck them both. Light engulfed the square, blinding, searing, holy. When it faded, the crowd looked on in awe. Amara and Chizadam were gone. Only a single moonstone lay upon the ground, cracked and faintly glowing. The goddess turned her face toward the heavens and vanished, her light folding back into the sky. Rain began to fall. Gentle, cleansing rain. The earth drank deeply. For the first time in years, green shoots sprouted from the fields. The curse had lifted. But joy and sorrow danced together in the hearts of the people. Okafor fell to his knees beside the cracked moonstone, tears streaming down his cheeks. "My child," he whispered, "your love has healed us and taken you from me." Adana stood nearby, trembling. Regret filled her eyes. "What have I done?" she murmured. "I only wanted to be seen, but she became the moon itself." The priest placed a hand on her shoulder. "The gods choose their lessons with pain, my daughter. Let this be yours." That night, as the clouds parted, the moon shone brighter than ever before, and beside it, for the first time, a new star appeared, small, silver, and constant. The elders gathered and spoke in hushed.
The elders gathered and spoke in hushed tones. "See it?" one said. "That is Amara's star, the bride of the moon." And so they named it. From that night on, lovers who quarreled would look up and pray, "O Anwa, goddess of the moon, bless us with love as pure as Amara's, but spare us her sorrow." And when the moonlight touched the river, villagers swore they could still see two figures, a man and a woman holding hands in the silver glow, smiling at one another across eternity. For 7 nights after the sacrifice, the skies refused to rest. Thunder rolled where no clouds gathered. The moon burned too bright, as if the heavens themselves were uneasy. And every night, that new silver star, Amara's star, shone beside the moon, small yet unwavering. The people of Obodo Eze watched it in awe. Some prayed to it, others feared it, but all knew one thing: the curse had broken. The yams swelled again, the goats gave birth with ease, and the air carried laughter that had long been forgotten. Still, the elders whispered, "Peace bought with pain must never be wasted." Far above the mortal realm, in the shining halls of the heavens, Anwa, the moon goddess, sat upon her throne, her face pale and troubled. Her court was silent, not even the stars dared to speak. She gazed upon the earth, watching the mortals dance beneath her light. They no longer feared her. Instead, they sang new songs, songs not of gods and kings, but of Amara, the girl who loved a spirit and changed the fate of men. It angered her, it confused her, and deep inside, it moved her. "Mother of Light," said a soft voice behind her. She turned. It was Anyanwu, the sun, her eternal companion, proud and fiery. He bowed low, but his golden eyes gleamed with scorn. "You have allowed mortals to worship your shame. They name your son's folly as holy. They praise the girl who defied you." Onwa's silver aura dimmed. "Be careful, brother. I have burned brighter than you since before your dawn." And Yanwu chuckled. "You are soft, sister. You let a mortal's tears stain your light. The heavens laugh at you." She rose, her robes rippling like rivers of light. "Then let them laugh. What do you know of mercy? You scorch fields when you rage. I heal them when you rest." And Yanwu's smile faded. "Then perhaps your mercy has gone too far." He stepped closer, eyes glowing hot. "The balance between heaven and earth is broken. Mortals no longer tremble before us. They sing of love instead of fear. If you will not restore order, I will." Onwa's voice trembled like thunder. "What do you intend?" He said, "I will descend. I will remind them who rules the skies." "You would destroy them?" "If destruction is what it takes for them to remember." Onwa's voice trembled like thunder. "Touch them, and you will face me." The two celestial powers glared at one another, light clashing, silver and gold, cold and heat. The heavens shook, stars fled their places in terror. At last, and Yanwu turned away. "You will regret this weakness, sister." He vanished in a blaze of fire. Onwa was left alone, staring down at the small, stubborn light beside her, Amara's star. She whispered to it, though she knew it could not answer. "Mortal girl, your love defies gods and laws. What have you done to my heart?" Down on earth, time moved gently again. The people of Obodo Eze began to rebuild. But one night, a traveling griot, a storyteller with gray hair and eyes like deep wells, came to the village. He sat by the fireside and told tales to the children. But when the moon reached its highest, he said, "Listen, children of men, the heavens have not forgiven. The sun grows jealous of the moon's mercy. Soon his fire will seek to cleanse the earth." The villagers murmured, fearful. "But," the griot continued, "there is hope, for love, once kindled, cannot die. It only changes shape. When the flames descend, look to the river, for the bride of the moon still watches." And then, as mysteriously as he had arrived, he was gone. A week later, the sky changed. The sun rose earlier than it should have, burning fierce and angry. Its heat scorched leaves, dried rivers, and cracked the soil. The priest said, "It is Anyanwu's wrath. He seeks to burn away the stain of mortal love." Despair spread. The villagers offered sacrifices of goats, palm wine, and cola, but nothing cooled the sun's rage. Amid the chaos, an old woman, blind and frail, came to Okafor's hut. She carried a staff of driftwood and wore a necklace of cowries. She said, "Father of Amara, your daughter's spirit is not gone. She waits in the river, between worlds. If the sun burns the land, she alone can call the rain." Okafor trembled. "But how? She is gone." The woman smiled faintly. "Love never goes. It only sleeps." She handed him a small calabash filled with clear water. "When the sun grows cruelest, pour this into the river and call her name." Before he could thank her, she vanished into mist. The next day, the sun's fury reached its peak. The river dried to a thin stream, the air shimmered with heat, and the people fainted from thirst. Okafor stumbled to the river's edge, clutching the calabash. The villagers followed him, too weak to protest. He knelt, opened the calabash, and poured the water into the river. Then with trembling voice, he cried, "Amara, daughter of Okafor, bride of the moon, hear your father's call." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the wind shifted, the sky dimmed, and the silver star beside the moon flared brighter than ever before. A voice like soft thunder filled the air. "Father, why do you call me from peace?" Okafor wept. "Because the world you loved is burning." The air shimmered, and from the river rose a shape of light, faint at first, then clear. Amara, radiant, her eyes like flowing water. She smiled sadly. "My father, my time has passed, but the gods must learn that love gives life, not death." She lifted her hands. The cracked moonstone appeared in her palms, whole again, glowing brighter than ever before. The villagers fell to their knees as the river began to rise. In the heavens, Anyanwu saw it and roared, his voice shaking the mountains. "Still you interfere, sister! Still you let mortal hearts defy us!" He hurled a spear of sunlight toward the earth. It streaked across the sky like fire, aimed straight at Amara. But before it struck, the moon moved. Anwa stepped before the flame, her silver light colliding with the golden fire. The explosion turned the heavens white. When the light cleared, and Yanwu fell back, his radiance dimmed. Anwa stood firm, her voice calm but resolute. Brother, look upon the world you burn. Look at what love creates. Below them, the villagers embraced. Rain began to fall again, cool and pure. Crops lifted their heads. The river swelled. Amara looked up towards the sky and whispered, Mother of light, thank you. Onwa gazed down, tears of silver glistening on her cheeks. Go in peace, child. Your love has taught even the heavens to feel. She raised her hand, and Amara's spirit rose once more, but not alone. Chizaram appeared beside her, his light restored. Together they ascended into the moon's glow, their forms twining like silver and wind. From that day, the world changed. The sun still rose fierce, but no longer cruel. The moon still ruled the night, but no longer lonely. And between them, each dusk and dawn, a gentle light shimmered, neither day nor night, but love itself. The elders called it Amara's veil, the brief hour when sky and earth kissed, and when lovers met beneath it, they would whisper, even the gods bowed to love.
The rain fell for 7 days and 7 nights. It did not flood, nor destroy, nor drown. It cleansed. The rivers that had dried now sang again, dancing through the valleys. The trees whispered gratitude. The drums of Obodo Eze beat once more, not for mourning, but for rebirth. The people rejoiced, for the curse was gone and the gods had been humbled. Yet, in the quiet corners of the village, there remained a deep longing, the ache of those who remembered Amara, the girl whose heart had defied the heavens. Her father, Okafor, now gray and bent, often sat by the riverbank. Every evening, when the moon rose, he would place a small gourd of palm wine on the grass and whisper, Daughter of my heart, may your light never fade. Sometimes, when the wind was gentle, it carried back a scent of rain and lilies. He would smile then, knowing she was near. Seasons passed. Children grew. The people began to call the river Midi Amara, Amara's river, and built a small shrine beside it. Every new moon, lovers came there to pray. They brought gifts, beads, flowers, songs, and whispered promises under the moonlight. It was said that if your love was true, the water would ripple 3 times, a sign that Amara had blessed your union. Every new moon, lovers came there to pray. They brought gifts, beads, flowers, songs, and whispered promises under the moonlight. It was said that if your love was true, the water would ripple 3 times, a sign that Amara had blessed your union. Many swore it was real. Some said they saw a faint light dancing above the river at night, like 2 spirits embracing in silver mist. In the heavens, Onwa, the moon goddess, watched over them all. Her light was no longer cold. It shimmered softly, with warmth, with heart. Beside her, forever glowing just slightly brighter, was a new constellation. 2 stars intertwined, one slightly larger than the other. The elders named it Nkem Amara, my own Amara. But one night, when the moon was full and round as a calabash, Onwa descended again. Not to punish, not to test, but to bless. She came to the edge of the river, unseen by mortal eyes, her silver feet touching the water like mist. The frogs hushed. The wind bowed. Child of courage,
You gave your heart where the gods gave warning. You offered your life where others offered fear. You have reminded the heavens what it means to love. She lifted her hands, and the river glowed with moonlight. From its depths, the spirits of Amara and Shizaram rose, not in sorrow, but in radiant peace. They bowed to the goddess. "My mother," Amara said softly, "is it time?" Unwa smiled. "It is time." She stretched her hands towards them, her voice like music. "You shall not fade into memory. You shall become the light that guides hearts home. Each night, your glow will remind men and women that love is the bridge between worlds." With that, she breathed upon them. Their forms turned to starlight and rose high into the heavens. And from that night onward, two stars have never left each other's side. One bright, one gentle, forever circling the moon. Years became decades. Decades became centuries. The story of Amara and Shizaram passed from tongue to tongue, drum to drum. Old griots carried it across villages, from the forests of the east to the savannas of the west. They changed words, added songs, twisted the tale to their rhythms, but the heart remained the same. They always ended it with the same saying: "The moon keeps her bride, the river keeps her song, and
Don't
love
forget
keeps
to drop
the
a
world
like and
alive."
subscribe.